Right, so solving a problem that if you have a wall in a room, it's a loft, and you want to enclose it, what can you possibly do? So I'm listening.
That's kind of all I have to go off of at this point.
We're gonna problem solve. Okay, so here's a couple things that come up for me. So if you want to enclose it, you got a pen and paper so you can write this down?
Yes, I do.
All right, perfect. So the first thing is you possibly can do what they call an owner builder permit.
That I was reading about that.
Yeah, so you could, that's a potential. So the other thing is when it comes down to cost, so if you're going to enclose that, typically, yeah, you would have to hire an architect. The architect will come out, they have to lay out the plan. Then you have to turn in that plan to the building department, which there's typically a fee. Have no idea what that fee is. Then right after that, then you're going to have to apply for a permit, and then they have to approve that plan. The only catch is, hopefully, they don't make you do what they call energy counts. But if you're saying there's already AC there, they shouldn't have to. All you're doing is putting up a wall. So
exactly.
If you're only putting up a wall and it's already AC there, sometimes you are just allowed to do that. That's not that big of a deal because you're just putting a door frame in a wall. So it's like knocking down a wall. Do you need a permit to knock down a wall? Well, if you're opening up a space and it's not a load-bearing wall, technically you shouldn't, but with you would want to make sure everything's done right. So so the way it would go is you've got owner builder, right? You possibly could, that's a possibility that you could pull that permit. If you can't, and you have to hire, what happens is you have to hire a GC. A GC, this is a super small job. So for them, they have to charge you for time. So you still may be charged anywhere from $700 to $1,000 or more just for the time frame of the hassle of a permit. So that's one cost. Then you got an architect, right? Even though it's a small room, it's still a pain in the ass for the time, and they have to put this in CAD. So you may be $500 to $1,000 on that. You haven't even started on the project yet, just FYI. Now you've got, when he does this, he's going to have to do, it's the wall, and then you're going to have a door frame, and then you may have electrical, right? Because when you open a room, typically you have the doors, you have a switch and an outlet.
There is 4 outlets in the loft. Mm-hmm. So
typically every wall has to have an outlet. So if you're adding a new wall with a door, they're going to make you put a switch and an outlet.
Okay. The space that the door would go into is literally enough for a door because it's the hallway. So in other words, when you walk into a room, you have that door space. For this loft, the hallway gives me enough room to just put a door and they call that holds the door.
Yeah. That makes sense.
The side thing that holds the door, that and the door, the frame, that's pretty much all that'll fit there. Yeah. And right off of that same wall, there is a plug extension, like maybe 12 inches, 24 inches away from that entryway. There is a plug there. And then on the other wall, there would be a wall. So
got it. So real quick, I'm just giving you a heads up on everything. So you've got potentially, there's 3 potential people. Well, no, there's more than that. So then you've got, so then you have framers, then you got drywallers, then you got painters. Okay, so, all right, so this is the workflow. The workflow would be, potentially you could do owner builder, but I don't recommend it. If you have it, you would have to get a GC, then you got an architect, then after that, after it's approved, now you have to pay for the permit. Then you've got the GC that's going to coordinate to get the framing crew out there. From the framing crew, you got to frame it out, then get it inspected. Then you got to do the electrical if they require that. Could be a requirement. And then after you finish the electrical, then you have to do installation. And then after installation, you got drywall. Then after the installation, now you've got hang, finish, and texture, and paint for your drywall. All these are separate costs. So that small little project could easily be anywhere from $500 to $7,500, and half of that's just on permits, blueprints, everything pertaining to not even material and labor. It's like half of that is not even pertaining to it. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So my thought would be you could do that. That's an option. And Rick Mendoza is really good. He's a good GC. Do you have his number?
I have Rick. He didn't have anybody who could he couldn't handle it. I guess it was too small or whatever.
Yeah.
I sent him.
It's a small job.
Then he sent me to Nate, and then Nate was too busy. If you remember Nate used to
be
the sound guy at the church. So Nate sent me to this other guy, Shane. So Shane is where I'm at, and he's the one that said $3,800 with getting the permit and finishing everything.
I think that's a good price. If he's going to do everything, that's not a bad price. That's material, labor, and everything?
That's what he told me.
Yeah, if I was you, that's not a bad price. Just tell him to separate material and labor.
Right.
Wasn't your husband in the military?
Yes, he was.
Tell him to go to Lowe's and he could buy the material and then get a military discount.
I have the military discount as a wife, so I can do that too.
Yeah, I'll save you 10%. Yeah, and then what you do is you can get, if it's a lot of material, then get what they call get the pro card, which is free.
Right.
Just become a pro member and then buy everything. Make sure you buy it at the pro desk and do what they call is VSP. So if you buy more than $2,500, run it through what they call VSP, and sometimes that can save you like 30%. That's what I would. So if he's giving you that rate, I mean, it's not a bad thing. The only thing is you still have to, who's he going to use? I would ask him, say, who are you going to use for the architect? How much is the architect going to cost? Yeah. I've got to get that. How much is the permit?
Yeah, I have the original layout of floor plans for the room. Okay. So they would simply need to show the change of what the original is from to the new one. Yeah. So, but his architect that's all within that fee of $38 is with the architect. I told him when I said it, I emailed him because when he was here, he was like, "Well, I don't think we could just do it without having to pull permits." And then he was going to send me a price. So I texted him. I said, "Hey, I spoke with my realtor, and they said that I would probably need to get a permit." And you would want to do that anyway because the inspector will catch anything too. Exactly. So, and because Hillsborough County is very specific that if it changes the actual, that's the wording, if it changes the actual use of the room, then it needs a permit. So, so he was like, oh, and then he came back and said, well, if we needed to pull permits, it would be $3,800. So I have the email, Probably what you can do just to save on costs, like you could be, double check. Yeah, it's fine. Even if I would do the permit no matter what. You need a no matter what. So then what I would do is break down the materials yourself. Don't rely on him breaking it down. Meaning, hey, what kind of door am I getting? What kind of trim am I getting? What kind of baseboards am I getting? What kind of texture are you putting in? What type of drywall? Get all the particulars. Do not trust anybody when it comes down to it. Because even great contractors, they fuck up all the time. So it's like, just stay on it. And you're really good on the administrative side anyway. So that's one aspect. The other aspect of, you may ask him and say, hey, if you're pulling the permit, how much are you charging me just to pull the permit? Like $500, $250, whatever that number is. Because you may be able to just say, hey, I'll just pull the permit under me, owner builder, and then save the $500, Right. But you're going to have to call in for all the inspections. So, and right. Typically on that one, and you could write this down so you understand what's going to happen. So what's going to happen is, step one, you got to get the architect
to draw this out, possibly on CAD. But you may want to ask Hillsborough County. You may want to ask them, say, hey, because this is a loft, and we have slept in there before. We're technically not changing, but we are going to pull the permit no matter what. Can I hand draw this and put measurements with a ruler? Sometimes they let that happen. I've seen that happen.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I have it. My background is interior design and graphics, so I know how to lay that out.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it done. I've seen them approve it. I've seen them approve it for something this small. I've seen them approve a hand drawn by an older gentleman in front of me. So that's a possibility. That'll save you some time and money. Just you got to make some phone calls. And then the way that would go, once they approve it, then you have to pay for the permit. Then you have to put a permit box typically out there because they have to showcase you have a permit. Then you're going to have to fill out what they call a notice of commencement. And then you have to turn that in. You could ask them where to turn in because I forgot where.
Now, they said the notice of commencement was not necessary as long as it was under $5,000.
Oh, that's even better. Perfect. So you know how to do it. Yeah. So perfect. So then you don't have to worry about that. It's just sometimes they require it, but if they don't, great. Then after you complete that, then what you're doing is once that permit is pulled, you still have to put the permit box. Then you could have him work on it. You know, if I was you could probably pre-buy all the material, just put it in the garage. It'll save you more money. And then they're going to frame it. Once they frame it, you got to call in for the inspection for framing. When they finish the framing, then you got to make sure they're probably going to want electrical. If they do, then you got to get the electrician out there, finish the job, call in for the electrical, pass that. Then right after that, you got to do your installation. Once the installation's done, and typically that's probably going to be R13. Yeah, R13 on the walls. You put the installation, he puts it, then you call him for another inspection. And the biggest thing is make sure that they do what they call is cover all penetration. So anything that's penetrated, they have to cover it. Once that's finished, then you call in for another inspection. Then that you're allowed to close up all the walls. So that's when you could put the drywall. Then once you finish all the drywall, you can call in for the final. And then once you call in for final inspection, you're done. You're basically you're putting the drywall. They're putting the drywall. They're going to texture it if you want texture, and then they're going to paint it. And then they're going to put the baseboards and trim and everything else for the doors. And then put the door handle, make sure everything works, and then you should be good to go. And don't forget to put door stoppers because a lot of time people forget to put door stoppers. Mm-hmm. Is this helpful?
Yes, definitely. That's why I called you. It's funny. I was just thinking. I was like, Lord, and you came to me. I said, okay. Let me see if I can get him. So, God is faithful.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, Papa. Thank you so much.
No problem at all.
And if anything, if I can shoot you a text here and there, and you don't mind, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem at all. I think that's a good price. Just make sure that you get the particulars on exactly what. Do your best. If I was you, do your best to just let him know. Say, hey, I'll handle materials. You handle the labor, but can you give me what's the material list? I'm going to run it through Home Lowe's. You could and do the VSP or military, and then have them ship it directly to your house. Way less hassle. Cool. And then typically that's free as well, shipping. So, yeah, I mean, and then ask them if they'll take the. If they'll take the drawing handwritten or through your program, that could save you a lot of time and money too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you, Papito.
No problem at all.
You've been a godsend. Take care.
All right, I'll talk to you. All right, bye. All right, so if you've got the same issue and you want to extend some, that's just a couple things to think about whenever you're doing extension of any kind of property. Those are the items that you kind of want to think about. So hopefully this helps somebody. Bye.